Hey guys, this is Awesome Giants PS3 and this is episode 14 of Season 4 of our FIFA 12 Sunderland Manager Mode commentary, and we are now into the latter stages of January. I have 3 matches for you this episode, although it does only say on the calendar we have 2 matches, a home game against Everton and an away match against Swansea. I do also have an FA Cup home tie against Stoke halfway through the week, so we are going to have 3 matches in this episode, and just before the Swansea match we have transfer deadline day, so that is also going to be included in this episode. And I got quite a lot of comments last episode asking me for the squad report, and so here it is. A lot of players have made quite a lot of progress. Thibaut Courtois and Nathaniel Clyde have made a lot of progress themselves and have actually gone up in overall. Dede hasn't really made any progress. Angelo Ogbonna has actually made quite a bit of progress. He's gone up to level 84 now. Clichy and Stefan Sessegnon are quite old. I'm not really expecting any progress from them. Eunice Belhanda, James Milner and Xherdan Shaqiri haven't made any progress either. Wasn't really expecting too much. Maybe a little bit more progress from Shaqiri, but oh well. And also some other players haven't really made that much progress either. Kevin Gamero and Oxlade-Chamberlain. Lucas Podolski is quite old. Williams is reasonably old himself, and you know he hasn't really played that often. And Nicola Bolton and Ngog have gone up a few levels, and a couple of other players have improved slightly, but nothing too drastic, nothing too radical really. So in the Premier League we are in second place with 48 points, 3 points behind Manchester City and on the same points as Arsenal, and 8 points clear of Chelsea. So it is all about the title now. We are trying to achieve the Premiership title, so that's going to be a really interesting contest. And now on to goal of the episode for last episode, and this was a really close one. It was kind of hard. I did tally up all the votes, and in the end it came down to the Kevin Gamero goal against Tottenham, so thank you guys for leaving a comment on that. But anyway, on to our first match of the episode against Everton now, and Everton have always been a really tough team for me to play against. I've always struggled against Everton, whether I'm at home or away from home. I've always struggled against them, and it's always a Anichebe. Anichebe always seems to score against me, so this is a team that I think we are going to struggle against. We're going to see a lot of activity, and hopefully we can come out with 3 points. And Everton kind of half threatened from the start. Rodwell had a shot there, just went wide, or not just went wide, it was a pretty terrible shot. And then Anichebe has a brilliant opportunity, one-on-one with Courtois, tries to chip him and it just goes over. So they had a lot of their own opportunities, but I finally have a chance in the 30th minute. Milner with a shot, and look at that for a right rocket. That was into the top corner. Tim Howard couldn't do anything about that whatsoever. I mean, what a shot from outside the area into the top corner. That was a rocket and a half. As I said, Howard couldn't do anything about it. And after that, it seemed Everton were like, oh, well, we had our chances, we didn't take them. And now it just seemed that I could have a lot more opportunities. I decided to press them up the pitch. But Everton did have a chance just before the end, but Ogbonna closing in and keeps him out. And Ogbonna has been on a terrific run of form recently. And at half-time, it is 1-0 to Sunderland. So on course for the 3 points. I decided to bring on Fernandinho for Oxlade-Chamberlain. Fernandinho himself has been on a pretty good run of form. And Oxlade-Chamberlain's not really had too much of an impact. But yet again, Everton on the attack, and yet again another good tackle from my defence, and that's going to be a really important aspect of this episode, is keeping a clean sheet. If we can keep a clean sheet, which we haven't done in like ages, we have a great chance of coming out with 3 points. And Fernandinho had a really good chance there, maybe should have made a little bit more of it, a good cross, and the shot in the end wasn't really that great. But Kevin Gamero breaking past the defence, cuts inside, and a very nice finish past Tim Howard and into the back of the net to put us 2-0 up. A really nice finish, how he cuts inside there and then finesses it sort of into the top corner. And after that, Everton didn't really threaten at all. They didn't have any real chances. Sessegnon breaking through the middle, has a shot, a pretty good shot, just wide of the post. Howard probably had it covered if it was on target. But after that, Everton just didn't seem to care. They sort of they were 2-0 down quite late on into the match, and just look at that shot there. What a goal from Kevin Gamero. A lot of people have been slagging him off in the comments saying, oh, he's a crap striker, he isn't very good at all. But what a shot there. He kind of slipped a little bit, probably gave it a little bit more power on the shot, but 3-0 up against Everton. I did not expect this whatsoever, and at last Everton had a shot on target, comfortable in the end for Courtois from Anichebe, and at full time it was 3-0 against Everton. I did not expect that result whatsoever. Just having a look at some of the stats here, and as I said, that was the only shot Everton had on target, so a great 3 points there. But as we are in the transfer market, it is January, and we are going to be trying to flog off as many players as possible to bring in a really creative centre attacking midfielder. So I am selling Ngog to Bolton Wanderers, the team he is actually at, and also I received a 7 million offer for Stefan Sessegnon from Napoli. I said that's not really enough, but then they came in with an 8 million offer, and you know, he's a really important player, but he's quite old. That's a lot of money, so in the end I decided to accept the offer. Leaves us with 28 million, and it's a lot to spend, so I'm going to be going all out to either bring in, you know, Alan Dzagaev or other players like that, Shinji Kagawa, other players like that, and hopefully we can bring in a really creative player. So as we see here is our FA Cup home tie against Stoke. That just kind of came out of nowhere, really. I didn't really think I was going to have that match. I thought this was only going to be a 2-match episode, but it turns out we do have Stoke, and as this is in the FA Cup, I am playing some other players, you know, James McLean, you know, playing some players who don't usually play for me, because as we are in the title race, and also Champions League is going to be starting next month, I think, as well. So we want to keep in, you know, rotating players. We want to keep everyone kind of fresh, although we do still want to play our key players, because an FA Cup is something I really want to win. Last season we won the FA Cup, and that was pretty awesome. But, you know, cutting back to the match now, what a goal there from Yunus Belhanda outside of the area. What a good long shot. The goalkeeper can't get down low enough to it fast enough, and what a shot from the edge of the area. Great goal by Yunus Belhanda, and Belhanda doesn't really score for us that often, so I'm quite happy for him to score. He doesn't really have too many opportunities, but Stoke had their own, you know, they were few and far between, really. Didn't have too many shots, really comfortable in the end for Courtois. And yet again, Ogbonna, what a tank. Just, he came up behind the striker and just stole it off him. The striker didn't even see it coming, and look at this skill there from Fernandinho. I'm really happy whenever I do tricks. I never do tricks at all, and in the end a pretty good shot, well saved by the goalkeeper, but I never do skills at all. So whenever I do, and I really want to put it in the video, because I never do tricks. And look at that from Podolski, great turn on the ball, just has to finesse it, can't quite finesse it, and that, look at that from James McLean, just chips over the keeper. What a cheeky chip from him. A cheeky chip, what am I saying? But anyway, that was a really nice goal there from James McLean, just chipped it over the keeper, and at half time it is 2-0 to Sunderland. Stoke haven't really threatened whatsoever, and from the counter attack, you didn't really see the earlier corner, but Lucas Podolski picks it up, takes on their left back. I think that's Jonathan Woodgate, actually. He must be really old by now. And the old sweaty goal. Fernandinho also chips over the keeper. The keeper is having a shocker. He just can't keep up with this. It was a sweaty goal, so in fairness he couldn't really stop it, and I hate to sweat against the AI, but I always get slagged off if I don't, so you know, I can't win either way, so I'm just going to sweat it across. We had a couple other chances. Lucas Podolski had a shot, pretty well saved by the keeper, and then we had a corner later on, and Hovland put it in the back of the net through a header, and this is completely surprising. I'm 4-0 up against Stoke. I'm not even playing my strongest team either. I mean, what is up with this? I didn't expect this whatsoever. We are just on a great run of form lately. I don't understand it. James Milner breaking through the middle. He has a shot, and then that is a terrible mistake by the keeper. It sort of swerves a little bit, as you can see on the replay, and the goalkeeper doesn't quite get a hand to it. So in the end that goes in, and Milner has another attempt, this time just slightly over, so quite unfortunate. But in the 90th minute, on the attack again, Fernandinho running through and goal, sees Lucas Podolski, and he is going to return the favour to him to put us 6-0 up and complete a humiliation of Stoke. That was just absolutely shocking from Stoke. I didn't expect that whatsoever, and we are bringing in our brand new centre attacking midfielder. I got a lot of comments, but in the end I am bringing Alan Dzagaev for £23.5 million. He is going to be our star player. He was expensive, but he is going to be an awesome player, and we are now on to transfer deadline day, and as we have already brought in Alan Dzagaev, I don't really have a lot of money to spend. I can't really bring in anybody else unless I sell off some other players. Now I don't know if many of you will remember this guy, but I brought this guy in on a free contract, Jimenez, last summer, and I am selling him off for 4.4 million, so some pretty nice profit right there. And we got an offer of 13 million for Fernandinho from Bolton Wanderers. It's not really enough to tempt me, but I am now actually bringing in a player, Amal Fatano, I think that's how you pronounce it. He was on the transfer market, just wants some squad cover. He's got an overall of 80, so that's quite high. Just decided to bring him in as some squad cover to replace Stefan Sessegnon, and just look at the side of your bar there. Alexis Sanchez has gone to Bolton Wanderers. What is happening? It's absolutely crazy. I can't actually bring in anybody else, and Bolton Wanderers aren't interested in bringing in Fernandinho. So with 1 hour left, nothing happened, and the total amount spent today was £84 million. So that's quite a lot of money spent, and we do have a lot of quality players, including Alan Dzagaev, and he is going straight into the starting lineup against Swansea. Our third and final match of this episode. So Swansea are a reasonably alright team. Their squad really isn't looking that great. They do have Henry Lansbury, so that's a pretty interesting player. But other than that, nothing really too spectacular. And as always, Swansea weren't really that great. We actually got off to a good start. Eunice Belhanda had a chance. Probably should have tried smashing it in instead of finessing it. But I always say that every episode and I always make a mistake of it. But nonetheless, Swansea did come out again. But Ogbonna, another brilliant tackle from him. And he is just such a quality player, but Swansea started to pile on a little bit more pressure. Nathaniel Dyer with a cross to Jonas, and it was a pretty good save from Quato in the end. Nothing really that spectacular, and Swansea then couldn't really cope with us. We had a few more chances. Kevin Gamero laying off to Fernandinho. He tries to curl it into the bottom corner, but just can't quite get it on target. And at half time it was 0-0, so this has been a relatively, I don't know, not very interesting match in comparison to the others. A little bit dull, really. Nothing too special, but Henry Lansbury with a great ball in. Sorry, no, wait, Henry Lansbury on the shot there, shooting wide. I got confused with my little note thingy-majiggies, but nonetheless, we had a couple of chances of our own. Xani Shaqiri, look at that trick there, then just has to cross it in and can't quite get his angles right, and as always, any skill that I do, I want to throw it in there, so even if I blasted that over from like 3 yards out, I would have had that in there, because I love doing tricks, and even though I can't do them, and what a block there from Hovland. That was some spectacular stuff. That was probably heading in the back of the net to give Swansea the 1-0 lead, but a great block from Hovland. And from that point on, we had a couple more chances. Kevin Gamero playing some pretty nice football with Eunice Belhanda. He then goes for the strike and just went wide. We're getting really close in this match, but can't quite take the lead. And what a ball there to Danny Graham, through on goal. Hovland can't quite catch up with him. He tries to take it on the turn, but a pretty good save there from Quatua, keeps it out. And it looked like this match was going to stay at 0-0. A really nice through ball though to Oxlade-Chamberlain on the flank. I think about it, right, going to pass this across, and Kevin Gamero snatching it there, but Milner heads it back in, and look at that volley right there from Kevin Gamero. He has been absolutely stunning recently. What a volley that was on the turn into the bottom corner, and that finishes off the match to give us a 1-0 lead and a really, really important 3 points. So we are now on 54 points, on the same amount of points as Manchester City, so the title race is really heating up now. We're actually 3 points ahead of Arsenal, quite surprisingly, and Chelsea, you know, they are quite close behind us, but not really enough to threaten us for the title race as of yet, but you never know what will happen. And there is the bottom of the Premier League. Now, I know somebody's going to ask to look at the Bolton Wanderers team, and just look at it. Luka Modric, Zlatan Ibrahimovic, Alexis Sanchez, Bapafiti, Gomis, Hernandez, Lee Chong-yun, who they do already have, but he's always injured, Czech Tiote, Aaron Lennon, Agbonlahor, Julian Lescott. Just look at that team. That is pretty specialist right there. That is incredible. I didn't expect that at all. I mean, I know they had a lot of cash to spend, but they've really gone all out. And then they brought in Ngog for some reason. They had Ibrahimovic and Hernandez and Gomis, but they brought in Ngog. Why? I don't understand that. But anyway, guys, on to goal of the episode now, and we have 3 contenders because we scored a lot of goals this episode. So first was that Kevin Gamero goal. That was a really nice goal. Then we have the Eunice Belhanda goal against Stoke from long range. Really nice goal there from long range out. Keeper couldn't quite get down to it. And then lastly we have this goal where Kevin Gamero volleys it in on the turn into the bottom corner. So please leave a comment on which one you think should be goal of the episode, and I will tally those up for next episode. And now for player of the episode, it would be really obvious to go for like a striker or someone who scored a lot of goals this episode, but I reckon the player, because we kept 3 clean sheets this episode, has to be Ogbonna. He was crucial to us this episode, and you know, he's just such a key player, so I'm going to give Ogbonna my player of the episode. So anyway guys, thanks for watching this episode. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, if you could leave a thumbs up, because it really helps us out. And anyway guys, thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed.